There's a restaurant in Philadelphia called Barclay Prime, and they are known for their $100 cheese steak sandwich. And in a market where the average cheesesteak can be bought for $5, Barclay Prime thrived. And the reason why is our first principle, which is social currency. Social currency says that people are more likely to share something that makes them look good. In the case of Barclay Prime, people were not buying into the sandwich. They were not buying into the cheese steak, not the ingredients, not the bread. What they were buying into was the story, was the social currency that they would get from them experiencing that sandwich. That experience was worthy of them sharing it on social media, where they would show off to their friends and family that they are able to afford such an experience. It is a story worthy of recounting. It is the type of story where you walk in on Monday into your office space and you show people, you're like, you won't believe what I experienced this weekend. Look at these pictures. This is the $100 cheesesteak from Barclay Prime. People were buying into the story and their ability to use that as a social currency within their social network. And the reason why this is important for us here in Web3 is because social currency is built deep within Web3. And in the context of the NFT space, as we saw, people are more likely to share something out to their audience when that certain something increases their social currency within the marketplace. This is when they will be more likely to go out and share your message, share your product to their audience. And something important, if you were to notice in the NFT space, one thing that is deeply embedded within our culture is people posting about the NFTs that they hold. Every morning, it is culturally built within Web3 to go out there and say good morning to NFT culture. And what typically people do is they embed an NFT, the NFT that they own within that picture. People change their profile picture on the internet to that specific NFT. But what you don't realize is it is only 1% of the thousands of NFT collections that exist out there that end up making it into flex-worthy category. The category that people are going to be willing to put out there and show. When someone flexes their NFT on their social media, they're flexing only the NFTs that they want to associate their brand image with, that they want to showcase to the world like, hey, I own this beauty right here, and you don't. So rule number one of why things go viral, social currency. People are more likely to share things that makes them look good on their timeline. And this is a principle that I learned from the book Contagious. Incredible read. I read it back in 2017, and since then it's been one of the books that has stuck with me throughout my marketing career. And if this is the first time we meet, my name is Leon Aboud, and I help Web3 founders launch and scale their brands in Web3 in the most ethical, sustainable, and profitable way. Over the last 2 years, I've helped over 100 teams, and only in the last 90 days have helped generate over $20 million in mint funds. I make these videos for free so you can learn, and hopefully one day, when you are ready to take your project to the next level, partner with us at Unfungible. Principle number 2 is a trigger. In 2007, KitKat were losing market share. Sales were plummeting by 5% every single year. And at the company, they needed to do something badly to get back on track and increase their sales. And the marketing department of KitKat came up with a genius idea. What they did is, moving forward for the next year, every ad that came out for KitKat, they associated the chocolate bar with coffee. Every single ad you saw, every billboard, every social media post, there was always a coffee sitting next to the KitKat. And what that did in people's mind is it created a trigger where KitKat was able to associate the behavior that they want to create, which is people consuming the KitKat, with something that was already deeply embedded within people's habits, the coffee. So what happened next time on your 3 or 4 occasions that you were having coffee during the day? It created a trigger for you to think about KitKat. They were pretty much able to create an association between their product and a second product 2, right here. They were able to create a very strong association where the moment people would see product 2 that was already embedded in people's behavior, they thought of your product. And what ended up happening exactly 1 year after, sales of KitKats were up by 33%. And this is a great example for my viewers here, people here at home that are watching this. If you're watching this video, you are most likely a Web3 founder or you are launching an NFT collection. And I'm gonna give you an example that is very relevant for your position as an NFT founder. About 2 months ago, there was a viral word that circulated around social media, and that was the word cabal. All of a sudden, someone made a post on social media doxing the cabal and talking about how there's a group of people behind the scenes that are the ones that are pulling the strings of the industry. And that person called them the cabal. And all of a sudden, the word cabal became the most viral word. It became part of memes, it became part of conversation. People were making content about the cabal. What my business partner Kermit did, genius. At the very same time as he saw this rolling out, he rolled out his own private community around his brand. He's a big content creator. And guess what he called it? He called it the cabal with a K. When the word cabal was written with a C, he wrote it with cabal with a K to stand for Kermit. And he was pretty much able to call this community the cabal. And now the people that are part of his community are called cabal members. So what happened now, what he was able to do incredibly well, is he was able to ride off this viral word, which was the cabal. He was able to associate himself with it. So now what you see out there on social media, anytime now people are talking about the cabal, people are writing about the cabal, there's a trigger, there's the association. People remember, oh yeah, there's this content creator that has a community called the cabal. He was able to hijack that term and make it into his own proprietary community. And this is an example how Kermit, my business partner, was able to use the word cabal to associate his personal brand and his community within Web3 culture. Another example that I can think about top of mind is one thing Bored Ape Yacht Club did amazing in the first bull run is they became the thing people thought about when they thought of NFTs. When you ask anyone in the world, do you know NFTs? The first thing they're gonna tell you is, oh yeah, those monkey profile pictures. Bored Ape Yacht Club was virtually able to associate their brand with the term NFT. And that's how they were able virtually to become the biggest Web3 brand in the world during that period of time. So reason number 2 why things go viral. You create a trigger between a product that is already existing out there, a ritual, a well-understood concept or phenomenon. You create a trigger with your brand. So the more that second product grows, the more your brand grows with it. So this was reason number 1 why things go viral. Social currency. Number 2, trigger. Number 3, reason why things go viral. They did an experiment where they simulated a waiting room for a doctor's appointment. And they brought in a test subject who was supposed to have a doctor's appointment. The test subject walks into the appointment room, and that appointment room was filled with people. And what that test subject didn't know is that all the people in that room were paid actors, pretty much. And what they were trained to do is every once in a while, they're going to be hearing a buzzing sound. Buzz. When people hear that sound, what they were tasked to do is just to stand up, look around, and just sit back down. And what happened is that the subject came into the appointment room and sat down to wait for her appointment. Sits down a couple minutes, and then zzz, you hear the first alarm sound, and everyone in the room just stands up, unknowingly for no reason. And you see that test subject all of a sudden looking around, looking confused. Everyone sits back down. Second time, zzz, everyone gets up, and everyone just, does their thing, and they sit back down. You can see confusion grows in that person's mind. And guess what happens on the third buzzing sound? That the subject also stands up for no apparent reason and no apparent explanation. The reason why, ladies and gentlemen, social proof. Social proof says that when faced with a lack of information, people seek to the behavior of others around them to guide their decision making. And in the context of Web3 conversation, this is a really interesting one. Really interesting because it is one of the more common reasons why things catch on and go viral. We've recently seen an incredibly successful marketing campaign with the Portal coin farming, where all of a sudden, through a genius marketing stunt, they were able to get the biggest content creators in the NFT space talking about this new token called Portal. And the whole initiatives behind this was the more you posted about Portal, the more impressions your specific post got, the more points you would get. And these points would then be redeemed for actual tokens. And what very quickly happened in the NFT space, everyone on X followed through. And for an entire 3 weeks, the timeline was filled with people farming the Portal token. And one thing I'm going to guarantee to you, one thing I'm going to say with confidence, 99% of people who were farming the Portal coin, who were posting about it, who were using their attention and the odds that they have to farm that token, 99% of them had absolutely no idea what they were farming. They didn't know who the team was. They didn't know what Portal coin was. All they knew is that it was something important because other people were talking about it and they didn't want to miss out. So they thought, let me start writing that trend. And whenever I figure out about it, I will figure it out. But I might as well, I start doing that because if everyone is talking about it, then there must be something important about it. And this was a perfect example how Portal coin was able to do it. Another example that I recently made a case study for was Persona, an NFT project that we worked on. Recently raised $5.5 million on their NFT mint. One thing they did masterfully was they created a questing system where people were presented with a page where they had different quests that they could partake in. And every quest got you, for example, 10 points, 5 points, 6 points, 12, 20 points if you were to complete these quests. And what these quests were, if you go like this post that Persona just did, if you go follow the founder accounts, if you go retweet this, if you go comment on this. So what this created, ladies and gentlemen, seeing this happening live was incredible. Is it ended up creating a positive feedback that fed itself, where the more people saw this, the more they interacted with the quests, which made more people on the timeline see Persona, which made even more people get into the quest system. It created that viral loop effect. And one of the phenomenons, one of the reasons why Persona went viral, social proof. So far we have social currency, trigger, social proof. Number 4 reason why things go viral and catch on is authority. After World War II in the 1960s, they did experiments to try to understand human behavior and what leads people to do certain things. And in the context of that, it was to understand what is it that led the mass genocide or the mass killing during World War II. And one experiment that they ran that is incredibly popular, that still up until today is quoted in psychology studies, is the Milgram experiment. And what they did with the Milgram experiment is very simple. They brought a test subject in a big room. And that room was separated in two by a wall. You couldn't see through the wall. One thing they had is the test subject was sitting over here. And in front of that test subject, they had a computer. They had a keyboard where you could press buttons to send an electrocution shock to another test subject that was behind the wall. And in that room with the test subject, there was the professor, the researcher, the authority figure that was there to oversee that the experiment was going well. One thing this test subject right here was tasked to do is to ask questions to this person right here behind the wall. And when that person would give a wrong answer, they were tasked to press a button on the keyboard to send an electrocution shock to that person. And on the keyboard, every time they would answer wrong, they had to send a higher signal up until the final button that had a skull sticker next to it. What that person didn't know is this man right here behind the wall was an actor. So what started happening during the experimentation? The first test subjects asked a question to the second one. Answers wrong, bzz, sends an electric shock. Ouch! Reacts the second one. As the wrong answers starts compiling, so does the level of shock that he's sending, and so does the dramatic reaction of that test subject behind the wall. Up to the point where this person started screaming and saying that his life is in danger. But throughout the whole experimentation, the professor right here kept the test subject in check and was telling him every time the test subject was starting to have doubts, like hey, are you sure I should proceed with this? Are you sure he's gonna be okay? I think I'm hurting someone. The professor would tell them, please proceed with the experimentation. Please press the button. You must proceed. Press the button right now. And what they ended up finding through the Milgram experiment is that 60% of people ended up sending the largest fatal dose of electricity to the person behind the wall. And what this experiment tells us, ladies and gentlemen, is that when in the presence of an authority figure, people's brains, people's rational minds shuts off. And they outsource their thinking to the greater power of authority. And you might have noticed this because this is something, if you've been watching these videos, this is something we've so often spoken about on this channel. The types of projects and the types of products that are succeeding at a great scale in the NFT space are the ones ran by an authority figure. It is by founders that are respected and looked up to in the NFT space. And this is why, ladies and gentlemen, looking back at the bull market, previous bull market, celebrities would just come out and launch projects and these would sell out in an instant, go viral. Why? Because there was an authority figure behind the project. Even though that person had nothing to do with Web3, had no idea what they were doing here, people still bought into the project because of that authority figure. And this is something that is only getting embedded more and more in the Web3 space. This is not going anywhere. We live, work, and build in an industry that still does not have product market fit. So people no longer bet on the ideas that founders bring to the table. They bet on the actual founders that are bringing these ideas to the table. So what this tells us, if we are to recap all 4 points, social currency, trigger, social proof, and authority. If you are trying to build a product and you want to catch the attention of people, you want to create virality around your project, and you want to become spoken about in the NFT space, you need one of those 4 things, if not all of them. You need to have a product that people will want to show off to others. You need to associate your product with something that is already embedded within people's habit or within people's subconscious. You need to have social proof. You need a large following of engaged, active people. And you need, number 4, to become someone worthy of people's attention and someone that people are going to look up to, turn off their brains because they trust you and they respect you and they want to be part of everything that you are creating. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Leon Aboud and it was an absolute pleasure sharing this moment with you. I can't wait to see you on the very next video. Cheers.